All right. You're welcome. You're welcome. Greetings to our audiences all over the world. It is another episode here on the Wealth Bridge. And I don't get to do this alone. But by the way, if you're just catching a glimpse of me, my name is Madupe. My name is Madupe. And of course, I have my partners here, my wonderful musketeers. And in no particular order, Debola, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. It's great to be back.
Good,
How you
good,
doing,
good,
Lupe?
good. Excellent. We're back like we never left. And then, Demola, how are you doing?
Man, always fired up, ready to bring impact and bring value to our people.
Excellent. I love that. Always fired up. We're born to impact, and we're not
Mm.
going to leave any stone unturned, people. So,
Yep.
today's topic definitely, we just want to quickly dive right into it. You probably have seen that. There is this misconception out there, and we'll love for us to talk through it as a community. Does higher income truly equate wealth? We're diving into this question because many people think they already know the answer to it. But when you truly sit down with this, challenges, will come your way and will ask you many of these questions in another form. On the surface, it seems obvious, the more you earn, the wealthier you are, but in all honesty, is that truly the case? Because we live in a world where a lot of people look very successful on the outside. Don't get me wrong, these are all beautiful, things to show for it. I no disrespect to anyone here. Great jobs, excellent titles, luxury lifestyles, name it. Multiple income streams of visible income. But yet behind the scene, the BTSs, some are financially stretched, deeply in debt, living from one paycheck to another and lacking true financial security. Don't forget what we stand for here on this particular podcast. We want to educate us so that we can begin to unlearn to relearn certain things we've mastered over time. And at the same time, there are a lot of people who may not even earn high salaries, even in the room, yet they are steadily building assets. They are protecting their families. They are investing wisely, living below their means while creating lasting wealth. I'm going to have, my wonderful, powerful, leaders here share with us, is this particular conversation true? What is their view on it? How do they literally see this? And I will start with Demola. Demola, can you please explain, to any single person out there, even in a layman's language, when you hear the word income, wealth, what does that mean? Are they the same? Is there a difference? If there is a difference, what is the difference between having a high income and actually being wealthy?
Hmm. Interesting. Awesome question. And I think this is so important because everything we tend to want to achieve or want to do involves almost 98% of everything we do revolves around money. So
That's
this topic is something that we can't shy away from. Is the elephant in the room that needs to be addressed. So when we talk about income, let's even talk about what income is before we even talk about higher income. What is income? What are we talking about? Income is just the ability to earn money. It's trading time for money. You go to work, somebody pays you wages for it. And that's just basically what income is. So anybody could, you could be hawking on the street and selling something, you earn an income. You could be working for a corporate office and earning an income. But higher income is just another way of saying, I'm earning a higher salary. And obviously we know that that is, we could put that in different boxes. What is a higher income? To somebody else, a six figure is a high income. Most especially in our diaspora community. Once somebody's making over 100,000, they say he makes six figures, and they make it seem like it's the best thing since
the end
sliced
of
bread.
the
And I
day.
give, I do my hearts to, if you're making six figures out there, it's great, but that's not the end. That's just the journey. That's not the destination. When we
Mm,
talk about wealth, wealth is something that is built over time. And wealth, we could equate wealth in terms of, assets, assets, wealth. And one of the things that I really want what I want our viewers to understand when it comes to income and wealth, income, you're physically going there to trade time for money. Wealth, you're leveraging something called OPM and OPT, other people's time and other people's money. Wealth means that you don't necessarily have to be there for income to come in. That's the difference. So you're leveraging, you put out a way to leverage the system in your favor. While you're sleeping, guess what? You're making money, you're making income while you're sleeping. On the other end, as an higher income earner, you're still trading time for money. So that's one of the things that I want us to first even solidify from there, to make that distinction that there is a huge difference between just making income and being wealthy. However, the very first key to making wealth is income. So you can't be wealthy without obviously making an income. It's just that wealth is definitely a higher level of just making income. I hope that helps.
Excellent. It sure does. Thank you. I like the way you broke it down. And I like the fact that you emphasize that income is your starter. But we're saying now, don't get too comfortable, even if you're earning that 6-7 figure. Don't get too comfortable, because that is never your destination. And, that is such an important distinction that we just clarified out there, because it is the truth. But let's take it a little, a little deeper into this. Debola, why then do we have many high earners still feeling financially trapped?
That's a big question. You expect somebody who is earning very high income to be able to do everything, to buy anything, to meet their needs, without having to struggle or to stress over it. But it's not always like that. And I believe we did talk about this in one of our very first topics. We mentioned something about I think that was I'm trying to remember, lifestyle inflation. That's one of the reasons. So many high income earners struggle financially, and that's just because any more doesn't automatically create wealth, like we have established. It doesn't. They often spend as much as or more than they earn. They fall into that lifestyle inflation, spending more that you earn, to carry hidden debts. Some even rely on just one single source of income without having any other thing. So it's just that one income that is doing everything. And we have come to realize that is not the way. It's a necessity for you to have more than one stream of income. So spending much more than what you earn, having debts, relying on one source of income stream, and you don't even have a clear or a plan for savings, for investment, for other things. In short, high income without smart money management will definitely lead to no lasting wealth. There has to be a plan in place. There has to be a way that you are managing your income, managing your what's coming in. There has to be savings. There has to be a plan for investing. There has to be a plan for what is next. So you can't just rely on, I have this job, I'm getting this, a paycheck is coming in, and at the end of the day, you're living, more than your paycheck. You're living from paycheck to paycheck. The money is not enough. The bills are not even getting paid. Wow. And the higher, your income, in some cases, the higher your income increases, the higher your standard of living. Your lifestyle changes without you having a plan to even, meet up with that. So you can imagine if we can have a stable lifestyle, even while our income increases, then we'll be able to have enough to save or to do other things, to plan, to invest, to create other ways by which we can accumulate or build wealth. So I believe this is one of the few things that causes even people that have high income to still struggle financially. Don't live beyond what you earn. Plan, plan where your money goes to, have savings, invest, look at other areas whereby you can start, other income source that you can, start to add to your income.
Excellent. I like that. Fantastic. That was really apt on. I like the fact that you stressed that it has to be a structure, because if structure is not put in place, no matter how big you earn or how high you earn, it's a pure recipe for disaster. So, but I'd like for us to be all inclusive tonight. So somebody's probably here and saying, oh, higher income is what they are talking about. This conversation is not just for the executives or the top earners, quote and unquote. Let's talk to the everyday person listening right now. Everyday person working so hard and saying, you know what, I'm getting somewhere. Demola, can someone with a moderate, income platter, for lack of a better word, can they build real wealth? And if yes, if from your perspective, if it is, true, how can this person manage that?
Wow, absolutely. In fact, many wealthy people were not overnight high earners. They were not overnight success.
I
You
agree.
know, there's a lot of wealthy people that weren't born with money.
Mm-mm.
Some of them became wealthy through consistency,
Mm.
good habits, patience, and strategic decisions over time.
Mm.
Just like Debola said, there is a framework to how this money is channeled. It's not money just gotten and there's nowhere for it. If you don't apportion your money to do certain things, your money just goes wherever it wants to.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to direct and channel our resources to places whereby will generate more income for us. So a person with a moderate income can build wealth by controlling their expenses, avoiding destructive debts, investing consistently, protecting their income, owning, appreciating assets, and making long-term decisions instead of just emotional short-term choices, which we see a lot of in our community. We see a lot of people like all these, shiny objects. They'll tell you, you invest, you could gain 30% rate of return, 40% rate of return. And that's why people fall into all these scams, because those things don't even exist except you're a thief, But it goes back to understanding even how money works. If you don't even understand how money works, how can you really build real wealth? You can't, because most people, you talked about something about mindset. There's a mindset to how wealth is built. And I think these are something that we need to really think about. So wealth is often built quietly. It is not all up, it's not always loud. It's not, like people say, hey, I don't blow. It's not like you just blow like that. Go and check most of the people that today we say they've blown for better, for a lack of better, choice of word. But go and look at them. They've been in the trenches. They've been working. They've been mastering their craft. And all of a sudden, it's time for them. Just like the Chinese bamboo tree, for 5 solid good years, that Chinese bamboo tree is hidden in the soil. Nobody sees the action going on in the soil. Does it mean on the 5th or the 6th year when the bamboo tree shoots up about 70, feet into the sky? Does it mean that's when the bamboo trees start going? No. The action has been happening when nobody's seeing it. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it is usually very intentional. So those are some of the things I'll let our viewers to know. Just remember that it is possible for you to be able to build real wealth.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. I like the fact that you're giving hope, right, to those moderate, low income earners right now, saying, you know what, you're going somewhere, you're getting somewhere. And to be honest, you'll be shocked, right? You find out that a whole lot of moderate conservative income earners right now are doing marvelous, and some things that are just like will blow your mind. Will blow your mind. And I can tell for a fact, from experiences and whatnot. This next part, right, that we'll be looking at might be a little bit uncomfortable to some people. Now, the goal is not to make you to, ruffle your feathers or what have you, but it's necessary so that we can begin to see that appearances can be misleading. It can be misleading. So just to again call out a sense of caution there. And that takes me to our next question, Debola, and I'd like you to please help us with that. What do you think could be some signs, symptoms, like they will say in the medical field, right? That a person may have a high income, but is not truly wealthy. So that somebody can pick up on that and begin to say, let me make sure I fix it. Let me make sure I address it. What will that be? Go for it.
I mean, it's good that we're doing this, because if anybody is feeling that, they're feeling like, I think it's good. It's not personal. We don't know anyone out there, but it just means that you need this. So talking about signs to show, the signs that the person may have high income, but it's not really wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
The first major one is living paycheck to paycheck. Despite the big salary,
it's dangerous.
Expenses match or always exceed your income. Before the paycheck comes, it's already gone. That's a problem. Another one is the high lifestyle inflation that we mentioned before. Constantly upgrading cars, upgrading homes, upgrading gadgets without saving. I mean, it will come to a point that you will see that, okay, things are not adding up. They're not adding up. We also have the issue of, you not having savings, not having any investment, no emergency fund or retirement contributions. You don't have anything that is, if anything were even to happen, what am I going to fall back on? There are a lot of options out there. This is one of the things that we are professional. And we're not just saying it because we have seen people, we've experienced some of this. We've seen people in our circle that have experienced these things, and we've seen the solutions, we've seen the options, and we know they're available and can also help anybody out there that need it. So every debt burden, having credit cards, loans, or mortgage, because those things consume a large portion of your income. So how are you going to be able to have anything left to even save? When you don't have any financial plan, spending is reactive, not strategic, with no long-term goals. Anything that comes, this person just bought a new car. I think I should have that too, just to show status. These people are moving to a new house. Wow, that house is so beautiful. We should be doing the same. And then you're spending what you don't have.
Should be training.
Yeah. Income dependent lifestyle, wealth will disappear quickly if the income stops. That's just simple. And if you don't also have multiple incomes, if you're relying on just one and it's not doing the trick, then something needs to be done. So when someone is entirely financial, let me say, or let's say has a luxury lifestyle but no peace of mind, there may be one job loss, one illness, or one financial emergency away from crisis. So that is not wealth. Wealth carries margin, security, and resilience. So if you're hearing this and you think this is describing you, then it's time to do something about it. Thank you, Mudupe.
I knew Debola was the very, very blunt person to address that question. And she, she took it with her full chest and she gave it the way it was going to be, which is really nice, right? Coming from a place of how she would have addressed that. Thank you so much. Yeah.
A ballistic missile.
And just like if I eat you, I didn't miss to miss you, rather, right?
I didn't plan to miss you.
Yeah, it wasn't my plan to really miss you. I wanted to eat you. So if you take it, just take it and rub it. take and rub body, that kind of a thing. Oh my God.
Mm.
All right. Thank you so much. Now let's move a little beyond the numbers and the talk about the inner work. And because money habits often reveal deeper patterns, Demola, and mindset, financial literacy has a huge role to play in all of this. Members of the audience, those probably following us would have constantly hear us talk about mindset, financial literacy, and whatnot. Demola, if you could just please elaborate and tell us, what role do you think mindset, financial education will play in building wealth beyond income that we've established is the foundation? Income is foundation. But what is the role of mindset and financial education in building wealth?
I mean, very, very awesome question. As a person of faith, the Bible tells us that as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. You cannot, if you think that you're mediocre, you're right. If you think you're wealthy, you're right.
Yeah.
It's whatever you choose, and whatever the mind can conceive, the mind can achieve. So we need to understand that we need to stem from what is our mindset, and most of the things that we do is mostly 90% mindset and 10% skill set. So if we cannot even think right, it becomes difficult. And when you look at it, you see the trajectory of so-called 9 to 5. When you do a lot of 9 to 5 and you go from one 9 to 5 to the next, where is the time to really think, to really see where's my life going, to really sit down to think and say, you know what, with these 2 9 to 5s or with these 2 jobs, am I going to ever become financially free? So we see a system that has entrapped us from not even having the time to even think about what we're doing unintentionally, unfortunately. So, mindset and financial education plays a huge role when it comes to building wealth. I mean, there's a behavioral thing to it which we must understand. And a lot of people do not have an income problem. First of all, they have a mindset, and the knowledge gap is there. The question is, how many books do you read about money? How many books do you read about, finances? What is your core team? Your core team. If you have a team of 5 and all they talk about is just TikTok and nonsense all the time, then you're just going to be like them. But if you have friends who their mindset is, how do we create value? How do we bring impact? How do we create things in the marketplace? Then that's the same mindset you will carry. So I think mindset, we cannot underplay the power of mindset in everything we do. Mindset is so critical, and financial education. You might have the right mindset, but with the right mindset, you also need the right skill set, which is the financial education as well. So even having the right mindset, but that's the foundation. The right mindset is the foundation. Now you could build the financial education on top of it. By the more you equip yourself, they often say, the more you learn, the more you earn.
Right.
So you have the right mindset. Now you start to learn the right things. And I remember you said something. There's so many things that we need to unlearn, to relearn, and to learn those things, and to learn those things. So they are all things. Could you imagine you're trying to download something on a computer, but that computer already has a faulty software. It's corrupt with virus. So anything you're trying to put in there, it's also going to be destroyed by the virus. So you have to first wipe it out. Wipe out your, should I say, poverty mindset. And when I say poverty mindset, it doesn't mean poor. It doesn't necessarily, it's just the mindset of always passing opportunities over repeatedly. That's what that poor mindset looks like. So we need to change that first. Then we can now start building on financial education, which plays a major role in everything we do, regardless of whatever income you earn. If you don't have financial education, trust me, it becomes difficult to build wealth.
Wonderful. I like that. I love the way you just nailed it right there on there. I love it. Give me a chance to like this particular episode like 1,000 times. Did you hear the nuggets and the gems coming out from my wonderful, powerful leaders? Did you hear it? These are individuals impacting their world, impacting their community. We are all doing that. If you're just probably coming across us, you know what? Please stay glued to this channel, because again, you will learn and you can share with any single person out there that you believe can also join even in this journey of growth. We are going on a journey. I like the fact that you emphasize that your earning capacity is going to be dependent on your learning ability. So if you're not ready to learn, guess what? Then please be rest assured that don't hate on individuals that are earning. Don't hate on these individuals that you begin to say, those are for the wealthy. Those are for the wealthy. Excuse me? We no longer say that in this class, in this age and time. We are the wealthy. We are going somewhere with an abundance mindset.
Yes.
Having said that, let's make this a little practical while we wrap it up. Does higher income truly equate wealth? We've talked about it. We've sliced, we've diced it. And so Debola is going to wrap us up and take us home. For a listener who's out there, somebody in the audience listening and who is so inspired, but wondering and saying, where do I begin? What will be my first step? What would it look like? Somebody who is trying to move from simply earning well to actually building wealth. Are there any practical steps, any 2 nuggets we could just share with them? I know these are sections we have with our clients every now and then. These are sections we sit down with our clients, we walk them through. But if you could please, out of your plenty nuggets, can you just share with the audience? Just give them a tip of the iceberg. Go ahead, Debola.
The tip of the iceberg. All right, so let's get started with that. Where do you start from? What should you do? How can you cross that part from just having income to building wealth? I would say start with awareness. Know where you are, know where you are with your money, know where you're going. You know, you can't build wealth blindly. So you have to know where you are, where you want to be. You know, the goal is not just to earn money. The goal is to keep more, grow more, and be able to pass more over to the next generation. I have some practical roadmaps that you can use to move forward from just earning well to truly building wealth. Number 1, track and control your spending. Know exactly where your money is. I mentioned that. Cut out unnecessary expenses, things that you don't need, things that you do just to please people that don't like you. Build an emergency fund. Aim for 3 to 6 months of living expenses to protect against unexpected, shocks and anxieties. We did a topic on this previously. You can watch some of our playbacks. Build an emergency fund. You need it. Okay. Reduce unnecessary debts, or just pay off high interest debts. So you can reduce those debts that you don't need. Pay off the ones that are high interest. I always see that starts with the high interest. Pay them off. Eliminate credit cards or personal loans, before they eat into your wealth. Or I would say before they eat into your building. Eliminate them. And it's very important to invest consistently. Start with retirement accounts. There are very different options there. We can also help you with that. Reach out to us. Just give you information about some of the things that are available, some of the options. And there are other low-cost investment that you can also start with. But not doing any at all is not an option, not in this world that we are today. Diversify your income. Don't rely on that job. 9 to 5, you're doing it for somebody else. It's what you do from 5 or 6 to 12 is what you're doing for yourself. So don't rely solely on your paycheck. Explore side hustles, explore other areas. Please protect yourself, protect your family. Okay? It's very important. Set your long-term goals. And if you can just start a little, seek advice, and you see the difference within a short period of time. Our time is gone, it's fast spent, so I have to stop there. There's more, but I just stop there. Over to you.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Plenty hugs to my people. Can you please give us a whole lot of plenty love? Thank you so very much. It's been amazing doing this with the both of you. A lot of nuggets coming out just to see who can that be of help with. And as we wrap up, one thing stands clear and one thing really stands sure. Higher income does not automatically mean true wealth, people. In case somebody's out there and saying, hey, what not, right? So perhaps the better question is not how much do I make, but rather, what am I building? See your income making as the starter. Okay, when you go to a restaurant, they start you on a starter, right? Before you have the main entree, right? And then you balance it up with the dessert and all that. So we hope you found value in here. Put in the comment, box, comment section, your thoughts on this. If you found value, what other topics you would like to hear from us. And don't forget to subscribe, follow us for more episode and turn on your notification button so you don't miss the next episode. It's always coming with fire. I'm excited. I know that our community will be better because 3 individuals ready to impact their world deemed it fit to add value to their community. Until we come your way another time, it's bye for now, everyone.
God bless.
Thank you, Debola. Thank you, Demola.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Take care.